Welcome to a new episode of Two Whatever's Way Up. I am the hostess with the mostest, your Pitchmaster General Seth. I'm here from the Film Rescue Show to talk about a movie with a couple guests that I'd like to introduce. You know him as the voice of Creepy Grimace. IMDb verified actor Michael Spielman is here.
That's me, IMDb verified actor. That means I've been in something and IMDb says, yep, that's a real thing. Take that, everybody.
That's how that system works. And also, in related projects, we have Victor Grubb here.
What's up? What's up? I just want to say I'm a massive fan of Weird Grimace. I'm a massive fan.
The voice was
so glad to be.
It was a hot comment in the video. It was everyone very much was frightened by that voice.
you have a history,
voice, guys.
You got a future in this industry, Mike.
That's right.
I'm telling you.
What?
We are here today. The reason we've gathered is because all three of us have seen a new Netflix, I'm going to call it a rager. This movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about They Cloned Tyrone. Off the radar, no ads for it. I knew nothing about this except for when John Boyega had talked about the next project he had coming up, and I was like, oh, I will see whatever that is. This is what that was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't hear anything about it until like people started posting about it. Like I literally did not know it existed. But once I saw, I love John Boyega and Jamie Foxx. I was already gonna watch it because of that.
Sure.
But what really convinced me was Teyana Parrish because she was probably my favorite person in WandaVision between her and Wanda. Her and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Like the actors are who killed it. But they were my two favorite people in there, and so I wanted to see more of her. And I would love to see her bounce off of two amazing actors like Jamie and John. It's
right.
That's the trio right there. That is a power trio. There are no weak links in that cast. All three of them are amazing.
They stacked it out.
Yeah, it's like she has like the emotional kind of heart of it. Jamie is hilarious, and then John Boyega really drives the plot. It's just
right.
It's really great.
Mike, had you heard of this either? Like, how did this get onto your radar?
I heard nothing about this thing.
Wow.
I knew about it. Yeah, I just knew that there was something coming. I knew John Boyega was like pitching it and telling everyone about it. And I was like, well, I'm going to watch it because John Boyega's in it. And just not expecting this perfect thing.
We got a gem. We got a gem. It's
a gem.
This is the reason why we added this show into the lineup. I know Film Rescue, where I hail from, we're a little more critical, and so we don't usually get to have these like, this movie's so cool. Let us tell you about how cool this movie is. So I'm stoked to have it on this one. This is exactly what the show is for. I saw Vic tweet about it, and I had just finished watching it, and I was sitting in my living room going, this was really good, right? Like, I'm not crazy. This was excellent. And then I saw you tweet about it, and I was like, all right, if Vic was into it too, maybe we got an episode on this. And then Mike, I saw immediately, like, I think we all watched it the same day. I'm pretty sure we all watched it the same day.
Look at that timing. That's hilarious. It is hilarious. But it was meant to be, and this movie deserves all the shine. Like, everybody needs to talk about this because we don't get original content like this that often, especially like I think I mentioned this to you before, Seth. It's like getting like black sci-fi content is so important to me.
Right.
I'm a big sci-fi fan, and for good reasons. A lot of amazing stuff out there. Aliens is my favorite movie of all time. Terminator 1 and 2.
Right.
Blade Runner. Yeah, it's just like there's so much interesting and so much sci-fi out there. That's just nice to see somebody with the black lens. Like between this. Get Out and Nope, which I really love. Nope.
Yeah, Nope was so good. I've been singing its praises since I've seen it. Oh,
I feel like I'm like the lone person fighting for it because like I see there are people who like it online, but it's like most of the people around me don't seem to either. They're like it's okay or like they're not into it. I'm like, no, this is great. Like I don't know, I don't know what y'all see. I love this movie.
I'm gonna watch Nope tonight because I still haven't.
Please watch Nope. It's all about spectacle. It's not quite like Get Out. It's different than Get Out because it's more like about like a summer blockbuster. But I digress. Yeah, Boots Riley's another guy, just super creative, and another thing that's really cool is he's weird.
Yeah,
and it works. Like Sorry to Bother You and and I Am a Virgo are two things that only can be made by Boots Riley, and I love that.
Yeah.
And people accept it. You know, people are they're eating it up. It's really good.
I think we're just kind of we're sick of slick media. That was going to be a tongue twister.
Yeah.
I think we're really sick of it, and we want these weirdos to be like, no, let me show you some cool shit that's bopping around in my head.
No, really, because it gets so generic. Like sci-fi, just for the longest time, it's just like, okay, we're just gonna do Interstellar for 10 years now. We're gonna
Right.
keep doing the Interstellar vibes, and it's like there's so many other, there's so much other shit out there.
So
So much
yes,
other stuff you can explore.
so much weirder sci-fi.
Yeah.
Mike,
We're
if
seeing an enabling happen. I think it's actually Boots Riley's fault. We're gonna see a lot more of this kind of stuff. And
Good.
it's not just sorry. I think Sorry to Bother You was kind of a catalyst for a lot of that. And from what I'm hearing about I Am a Virgo, it's just only gonna get more where they're like, man, this really interesting sci-fi approach that appears like black directors have. That's just like let them take over this genre a little bit more, because what they're doing with sci-fi is what I always love to see with sci-fi. It's not like this, oh, we're pessimistic about the future that everyone wants to fucking do. They're like, let me just show you weird shit, or like
Yeah.
this is what the government could get to with technology. Like this interesting approach around like conspiracies and making people make this like ridiculousness and controlling the way people's emotions are. It's so well executed on every level, and that's what I want. I want to see sci-fi that's like this is how they're gonna get you in the future.
right.
That kind of shit's so
Yeah.
cool.
I'm
And
loving this Afro surrealism in like you see it in TV in Atlanta, you're seeing it here in these movies. Like if this movie
yeah.
had gone to theaters, I would have gone to see it. Like this would have been a theater release movie that I would have been so into.
It should have been, cause like just one of their trailers is just I remember the scene where they were on the elevator and they were saying I'm going down. Like one of the trailers was just that,
Right.
and that would have got me just right off that because it was hilarious. And then Tiana Paris in there improvising her lines like just to fit the situation. It was hilarious.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's stuff like that that connects, and that's why it's like we need to see other people's perspective, not even just black people, just like all kind of people from all walks of life that we don't get to see normally, that we haven't seen historically. Let's
Right.
hear their stories because it relates. People can relate to that, and it's a different perspective we're not used to.
Well, and it's like,
know?
like that is the stuff that they grew up on this kind. I want to use like loose term, like this vaguely white media. Like I even think about you, Vic. Every episode that you've been on Film Rescue has been a sci-fi pitch. Like you have grown up on this kind of like vaguely white sci-fi, and so I feel like seeing these stories is like getting to watch. Like this reminded me of They Live so much. And,
Yes, exactly.
and it's like,
Exactly.
oh wow, now I get to. So, this is a point in for me. They Live. I get it. I understand. I can follow. Show me anything else now. Everything everywhere is another example of this. Like, oh yeah, let me introduce you like slice of life. We're gonna drop you into this like huge genre bender. But you're already familiar with this because you're familiar with A24 and like these slice of life movies that they've been doing. I love that we
Exactly.
get to, it's all stuff we already know. It's like it's stories we've already heard, but we're getting to see them totally unique. And so I
Exactly.
can't guess what's going to happen next. I don't have this lived experience. My pattern recognition doesn't work here, so I have no idea
Yeah.
how like They Clone Tyrone's going to end. I'm going, man, it's kind of funny. Is this going to be a funny ending? It's super serious. Is this going to be a super serious like I don't know where this is going. It's so unique.
No, they balanced it. They
Right.
balanced it perfectly. They balanced this movie very well. Like it's really funny, but when it needs to get serious, it gets serious. And it's like you said, there's always a point in. I think a lot of studios are afraid that it won't connect, but it's always a point in for people who are interested. If you
Yeah.
see something, if you're interested or not. And then when you watch it, then the other stuff that's different to you, now you're learning about other stuff and you're seeing other lenses, but also you're seeing something that you really enjoy. Like you said, They Live.
Yeah.
It gave mad They Live vibes. It feels a lot like that. And also a bit like Get Out. And it's like there's like these connective tissues that are there. And like you just get to see people wear their inspiration on their sleeves and then interpret it. And this is this director's first outing too.
Yeah, his directorial debut after
Yeah.
I think he was working on the screenplay for the new Space Jam as well. That was his.
Yes.
I wonder if
And there's
these two
something else too.
projects were if this is how he was funding that off of Space Jam. That would be so
That's
cool if
funny.
because like listen, I don't like the new Space Jam movie, but if it's like spin-off, like if all the stuff that comes around it is really good, then I'm happy. You know, like I can't complain.
He also
And
writing Creed 2, I think.
Oh yeah.
yes. Cause I was about to say there was something else too. Yes, and Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
Right.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
additional crew. So me too. It's probably like a
Now streaming on Peacock. Not an ad.
But if they want to pay us,
Right.
give us free subscriptions.
So if this had gone to theaters, Mike, what would your like reason for entry scene or bit or aspect of the film be? Like if you were going to tell somebody spend the $10 to go see this in theaters, what would you be telling them about to get them in?
I'd be telling them about the 3 leads.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I could watch 100 movies with those 3.
Yes. Individually.
Well, yeah, individually I could watch all 3 of them, but like putting these 3 together was so entertaining, and Jamie Foxx is so over the top and extra. In
Yes.
all
Jesus
the hilarious
Christ.
ways. I was just like, please keep being as like petty as you are, because this is hilarious.
He got the assignment. That man showed up to set
Yes.
with raucous energy. Like
No, really.
the 3 of us have been on set together for listeners' sake. So the 3 of us have worked together on films, and we know how rambunctious a set can get. Those 3 must have had people jumping out of the windows. Like, I cannot
my God.
imagine what their sets must have been like.
I don't know how they got anything done.
Right.
It's like, Jamie ain't take shit seriously. He was hilarious, man. Like you said, he understood the assignment completely. Came in there completely unserious.
I love
And
it.
I love it. Yeah, he is honestly one of my favorite like entertainers just in general. He is such a talented dude. Like, he's hilarious. He can actually act. He's an amazing singer. It's just like I will watch anything he's in. But then to have matching with John Boyega, one of the best actors out here, and Tiana Parrish, and I don't even know if she's up and coming. She may have been here already. I just didn't know. But another person who's supremely talented. She can jump between hilarious and just like actually emotional, and like she was literally the heart of the group. And but I was talking about my friends earlier with my friends before. You guys remember Scary Movie with Brenda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we don't get a whole lot of characters like her who are, who are very out there and very extroverted and loud, for lack of a better word,
Sure.
for lack of a better term, but like also very smart and also somebody who actually cares under the actual character. Like, I love seeing that. She's somebody I would love to hang around with,
Yeah. No,
Like,
absolutely.
all 3 of the leads killed it. Chemistry is amazing, off the charts.
Yeah, the trio is definitely a big in. I think the visual storytelling in this is excellent as well. That would be like my hey, if you're gonna watch this, you should. This is a movie that looks like a movie. Like it is color graded extra black, and I just love that as a flavoring on top of all of this. It's like no, we want this to look grainy as fuck on purpose because this movie is dark.
Yeah,
This is
and I appreciate that.
right. Oh my god! I started watching it in the middle of the day, and I use a projector, so it's sometimes a little too bright for a movie in the middle of the day. And as I got about 10 minutes in, I was like, I'm gonna save this until nighttime. I need to see this in like full lighting, like full setup. And I'm glad I did that and waited because, especially in some of the underground scenes, it was like, wow, this is really shot to look like a movie you're watching on a CRT TV or something.
Yeah. And like he just has you could tell he had a very like distinct hold on what he wanted to do. Like he had a vision from jump, and he executed it at every level. It felt like one of those kind of 80s blaxploitation movies with like through a modern lens, with modern lighting, but also it gave that vibe, that aesthetic.
Right.
Yeah, love it.
Oof, what a great set production design. Oh, all the elevators and stuff. Yeah, so let's get into what this movie's about. I think maybe we don't spoilers lay ahead at this point. Our review is definitely watch this, right?
definitely, please. Like you will thank us. All right, you won't regret it.
Yeah. So
It's not long and it's hilarious.
let's get into the plot. Mike, Act 1. How did Act 1 strike you?
Oh my god. So
Hmm.
first off, it's so perfectly well paced, but then it has its there 2 moments of frenetics in that first act, but it's all built as just setting up the scene, setting up who Fontaine is, setting up who Slick Charles is, introducing you really because Yo-Yo really doesn't shine until like Act 2, but she is there. You get to see her counter to Slick Charles, and then that whole just him controlling the block, him having the kid that reminds him of himself, setting up his dead brother, and the daily conversations with his mom, and just putting you into a setting like, yeah, okay, so we're about to, and putting you down this path that you think you're about to watch a certain type of movie, and then he's killed.
Yeah.
Boom! What a way to end Act 1.
What a fucking way.
I don't think you pay attention real quick, all right?
Right. Dude, I
Titan.
had to rewind. I was like, I missaw that. I did not. That's not what I just
literally
saw.
me too. Literally me too.
And
I was high as shit. I was like, wait a minute.
And like, it's in the title of the movie. I know the guy's gonna get cloned, but it still just comes. The movie is so unapologetic to be like, no, this is how he dies.
Yeah, and it's really quick the way they shoot it. And one thing I appreciate about him, he used a lot of motion, and so like he was like looking at him, and you like, oh, got to see him get ready and prepare himself. Then he whipped out of the car and immediately got gunned down. It was like, so he was still for that. He didn't follow him. You didn't like follow him to go see like the shooting and like go see the people who were there. You just saw the reaction. You just saw him flinch and then climb back into the seat. You know, it's really tense.
Yeah,
really, really good. Catch your attention real quick.
Whew. What a
makes you go, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. So it really gives Attack on Titan vibes. Like that's how you get my attention.
The movie really asks you to trust it. I think just straight out the gate, it's going like, you really need to trust us because we know what we're doing, and this is exactly what is supposed to happen here.
Sit back, relax. We're gonna take you for a ride.
So
that's the kind of shit that gets you hooked.
So yeah, that's our Act 1, setting up our characters within the Glen and just kind of showing basically a day in the life. It kind of starts off in your like slice of life A24 stylings. I love that kind of stuff. Vic, Act 2, Fontaine gets shot. What the fuck?
And it's actually really strange. Like I didn't pay attention to. I never noticed. 'Cause I guess I was having a great time. How tight this screenplay is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like that's mean fun and games. Like this first half is the second act. Mean fun and games. Like you get to see the band together. What's Fontaine comes back after Slick Charles and he's like, no, you died.
Yeah.
And then they go after Yo-Yo to confirm, and now the three of them are together. And like once they're together, it just gets rolling. Like as soon as the three of them are together, like you see exactly what the movie is, and they do a great job of setting it up. Teasing out the mystery. You see the clone. You see the Fontaine died, and then when he they find the underground laboratory.
They get into the lab quick. Yeah, they really get you right into the heart of what's going on here.
Yeah, I thought that was going to come towards the end, but I'm glad it didn't because it allowed us to tease it out. Like it's not something that happens right at the end. Like this is a mystery, and it feels like it.
Well, and it leaves you with so many questions. Like, why does this guy have an afro? Like that. Exactly. Is this a character choice or is this like
they point it out. They point it out, and that's the great thing. It's like you think it's just a joke. Like it comes across as just a joke, but there's a point behind it, and it's like, whoa, actually.
Right. No, a lot of the absurdism comes back. That blew me away. That was like, oh, this is so tightly wound.
Yes, I appreciate that so much. And then most of it's just them trying to figure it out, like trying to figure out what the hell is going on, doing mystery, and while by extension, we're trying to figure it out. Like, is this like a Truman Show? I thought it was a Truman Show situation at first. Like they were all in a bubble and they were doing experiments on that way.
That's slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going on. Man, ain't nobody looking at him. But then it leads to a really, really well-defined midpoint where the shit gets clear. Actually, no, that's the end of Act 2, actually. I lied. So most of Act 2 is fun and games, which I appreciate. But then Dark Knight of the Soul is where when they reveal what's going on and how futile it is.
Right.
Yeah, and his handler or whatever comes and kind of basically just suns him, like puts his foot down. So y'all gonna stop that right now. I could kill you right now if I wanted to. And it's just really, again, just tense. And that guy was only in like 2 or 3 scenes, but I would say he made an impact. He made an impact.
Oh yeah,
Kiefer
Kiefer Sutherland
or
is
Chester.
Kiefer Sutherland is Nixon.
Was that really Kiefer Sutherland?
That was Kiefer, yeah.
That was
No,
Kiefer.
ain't no way. He looked different.
He's old. Yeah, he's aged a lot.
Dang, that really threw me off. I did not.
He also
That
plays a
makes sense.
villain so different than he plays his
Yeah,
his
like
hero
Jack Bauer.
characters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His villain
That's
characters
the
are
guy,
despicable.
Yeah, like, clearly he's very despicable. He's like almost like the High Evolutionary, where he's like, "Oh, I'm having fun with this."
Yeah.
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 Act two is excellent. That's probably it's so hard to choose. Each one of the acts does what they're supposed to do perfectly. Does its job perfectly.
Yeah. So Act 2 is also kind of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I think the way Act 2 slowly reveals some of the answers is the reason why I think Act 2 is so good.
Yeah,
Because
like the chicken scene.
That was
Yes.
a great scene because you're like, haha, that's real funny. Why the fuck are they still And so, like, the
Yes.
realization of that scene,
Mhm.
the execution of what's going on. Oh, man, I like that scene. I also, like, as soon as you said it, I pictured the scene where Fontaine comes back after he's killed and Slick had already seen it. And he's like, no, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm like really.
Oh,
I can't remember the reference he made. He said, he called him the Ghost of Christmas Past or something like that. I can't remember what he called him. It was hilarious. Just again, very deftly directed and well handled.
Yeah.
Like you said, that realization with the chicken, it's like we realized alongside him,
yep.
something's not right here.
And
What the fuck?
and I think that's the first time the movie makes good on its promise, where it asked us to trust, is where it goes, okay, so now the reveal is not only is there cloning happening, which we knew the whole time from the title, wink wink, but it goes also they're dispensing this powder into the food supply and to the
and the relaxers.
into the hair stuff and into they find it in a church where
Subliminal messaging in the music.
Which is so crazy. Like that's the messaging and like the symbolism is insane. To have grape drink or purple drink, whatever they called it, be like the official like communion drink for churches is insane. And then my favorite part of the movie, I think, it's probably my favorite part of the movie, is when they were in church worshiping. You hear the guy in the organ in the background playing "Back That Ass Up" by Juvenile.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah,
this orchestral like version of "Back That Ass Up." Everyone's going ham. That was so funny to me. I had to pause it after that. I'm crying now thinking about that shit.
Dude, that whole scene was so over the top and so well
so
done.
Ridiculous. Yes, and I love that, man. I love because it feels like. It feels like a parody of like what really happens. Like,
right.
It's like, oh, that's somebody who really been to a church. He's been to a church before.
Oh, absolutely. And then the elevators in the fucking altar. Like, don't even have to. We don't have to exit from this building. This just goes straight in because, of course, it's the heart of it.
Exactly. It's so perfect.
Act 2's revealing what the movie is about. So, I think this is where we start to kind of drop in the themes. What popped out to you two is like the really important themes that this movie's talking about as they get revealed here in Act 2.
Well, I think the biggest one is, as you mentioned before, it's like They Live, where he's trying to portray that they're using branding and they're using things that they know we like to control us and direct us and keep us placated.
Right.
Like literally the chicken was just making us laugh. And then the hair products is like, she was complaining about how much bullshit she was going through. Then the hair products like literally relaxed her, which actually just put that together. Relaxed her. It made her be like, you know what? Actually, it's fine. It's cool. I don't care. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe, you know, I'm supposed to just be homeless. And then the purple drink in the communion, it made them all like rowdy and just forget. He's saying, you know, don't complain, don't riot, just, you know, just dance and celebrate. It's like this subliminal stuff. It's like he's hitting us over the head with it on purpose.
Yeah,
but like trying to make parallels to real life. Like that's the biggest thing I got from it. It's just a matter of like subliminal messaging and like subliminal control in a way that like we probably don't know, because they've been doing it so much longer.
Right, and it's in every single aspect of life, like everything that we
Mm-hmm.
find important. Mike, what was
Mm-hmm.
jumping out to you?
Exactly.
I think it's that we've all become so controlled by material possessions, I think.
Mm,
Yeah.
And it it's so easy to allow a message to overtake you, or to look at something without being able to put a lens on, uh, and so you get a passion towards something, and so then you think that it's great, so you blindly believe in it. Just don't want to
Mm-hmm.
see behind the closed door to see what the truth is. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a lot of that. Like, we put too much value into material things.
mm,
And I think that that was one of the running commentaries, is that it's not that being homeless is good. It's not equating material goods to being successful. I think that was the other part of that conversation that he was
mm.
trying
Mm-hmm.
to piece out with having the homeless guy around like that. It's just like, you don't need to be this to get it, but you need to not let material things be the only thing that you think about. Don't let that be your only fuel.
Right, right.
Right. And I think that's really important to bring up because that's true, and like it can draw a direct correlation to the church too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If they're trying to sell you something, it can't be that deep, and they've got to have a
Mm-hmm.
reason behind it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's just it's a very thematically rich like story, and he just does a great job. Again, definitely directed. You get exactly what he's trying to say, and the times that it is beating you over the head with it, it's only because of the genre and the style. It's absurd.
Right.
It's an absurd. It's an absurdist story, which I love. So it's gonna be ridiculous. But the point is, it's ridiculous. But like, how ridiculous is it really? Like,
Right.
I'm getting it from. It's coming from somewhere. I'm getting it from somewhere.
Well, and the one of the deeper messages that jumped out to me along these themes was the idea that all of it's all abundance. All of the problems have been solved with the technology that's been invented in this movie. Even literally, like, life is abundant now. You could be cloned and just keep living, but
Yeah.
instead, all of this is used for profit.
Yeah.
It's all abundance. There's no reason for anyone to ever have to be homeless. There's literally no reason for someone to have to die. They've got the tech for it.
Yeah.
But
Instead, they're trying to perpetuate it instead of solving it
right, exactly. And that's
because they
that's
need it.
the darkest, scariest part, I think, within, especially as we get into Act 3 and the reveals of like the character, as we get into like why Fontaine is specifically important to this, and
Yeah.
what's been happening. Act 3 of this movie. Let's jump into it, guys.
Yeah,
Mike, what
man.
happened?
It's fucking Attack of the Clones. Holy shit.
It's so
Man,
crazy. It's so cool, man.
they essentially, like, the end of Act 2 is them feeling like it's inevitable. You're never going to, except for Yo-Yo, who decides she wants to try and tell was it the Washington Post? She went to
Yeah.
an article.
Another
Mhm.
reason why I really love her, that's her motivation. It makes sense for her to do that, to be the one to not give up because she wanted to be something. She wanted to be bigger than this. She loved
Yep.
Nancy Drew. She loved reporters. Like she's probably the most well-rounded of the three character-wise.
Mm-hmm. And
I
so when
think her
she
character is the most
finally
well-rounded.
she gets kidnapped, the other two find out, and then they decide to kind of create this really interesting plan to get Fontaine into the facility early, and then have the two gangs that have been fighting from the beginning of this to work together and get the townspeople together and infiltrate the facility together. So essentially, the entire town is going into this facility to fight back, and it's like Ocean's 11 a little bit with the way that it executes on itself.
Hmm.
But then once it gets in there, it's like, all right, now let's finish this shit. But it
And that's
still has one final turn of the knife to let you know that yes, Fontaine is a clone, but the person behind this entire thing is actually the elder version of Fontaine. So the real
the
Fontaine,
original.
the
Mm.
original, who is trying to create peace by literally whitewashing black people into white people.
literally whitewashing, and that's what I really wanted to talk about in the themes, but I wanted to wait till we got to Act 3. It's like the
Mm,
assimilation is really, and I think that's probably his biggest, like his thesis is like they're trying to make us assimilate to
right.
and that's not the way to peace, because then we're literally not us anymore. Like he's literally trying to turn black people into white people, and then for him to say, "Yeah, the hair is stubborn. We couldn't figure out the hair." It's like, wow, to literally say those exact words, "The hair is stubborn." Like we've been saying that about us, our own hair, for so long, and it's kind of something that's kind of been bred into us to
Mm,
believe that anything that's difficult to, anything that's not super easy to deal with, they call it stubborn all the time, and
right.
it's like that's not right. That's not what it should be. It should be, like more acceptable. Yeah, and it's
Right.
just yeah, and for him to use that exact wording, it's like I know exactly what he was trying to get at, and I really appreciate this message because that is not the answer to this. Assimilation is not the answer
Right.
from either side.
Well, and it's also, I think, really indicative of the kind of story they're trying to tell here. It has to be absurdist because to talk about it in real life, the opposite happens, right? Like I just saw
Mhm.
the Nike movie, and that
Oh
goes,
yeah, yeah,
it kind of tells the impetus to um the sports arena kind of taking over visually, like what is cool now. Rock stars wear Nike. Like I was just watching the Polyphia
hmm
live video, they're all wearing Jordans.
Oh wow,
You know what I mean? So it's
that's pretty
like
cool.
assimilation, like in the real world, kind of works the other way. We want to look like the coolest, most affluent people, and a lot of these brands are
hmm
built off of black people's performance in our culture, and then it just kind of
Yeah.
trickles back down into whiteness. Now the whitest group of like it was Polyphia, so it's like just like super technical metal, and these guys are wearing
hmm
Jordans because
They're
that's what
wearing
looks cool.
J's.
That's what looks cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's always an interesting topic to approach because it's like where do they, and I don't think this part was touched on in They Clone Tyrone, but this is the kind of topics that you discuss when you have a movie like this.
Yeah.
It's like they it's like what are they using, black people are like used that like looked at as like, influencers in certain ways, but also
Mm,
not in other ways. And so again, there's the assimilation, but there's also the objectification. There is both.
right.
And like I said, that he didn't touch on that in They Clone Tyrone, but it's a good conversation to have. That's kind of the other side of the coin.
Right.
Like I said, that's kind of what real life is. Honestly, that's kind of what real life is like, but like within black community, it's kind of the opposite. Like the assimilation part is where a lot of black people approach because there's this and where we live is I'm not gonna get specific, but I hope you guys don't. Do you mind if I reveal the county where we live? Well, not you anymore, Seth.
I mean, yeah,
You.
we live all over.
Actually, and actually, you're not there either, Mike. I live in PG County, Prince George's County is what it's
There
called,
you go.
in the DMV, and we shorten it to PG County a lot of the times.
Yeah, yeah.
But my friend who works in one of the courts says the judge, who is a black woman, said we don't use that ghetto nickname. We call it Prince George's. And it's like, wow. First of all, the fact that you are just putting down a nickname, which makes things easier, and equating it to being lesser than, equating it to being ghetto, and equating that to being lesser than is just really crazy.
Oh, and the implication that like a prince is that much better. Like I know about the royal family.
Yeah.
Them are some incestuous motherfuckers.
No,
Like
really,
this
they
isn't
suck.
fancier.
It's not, I promise you. But her the way she perceives it is more like them. That's more like what they would say. So we need to be like them so we can be respected. And no,
Mm,
assimilation is not the answer. So
yeah.
I think within the black community, that's the big thing, and that's probably why it was so impactful to see a black person trying to make black people white.
Oh
Literally,
yeah. Well,
yeah, it's just crazy.
and I love that that's built into the character of Fontaine.
hmm
When is the last time you saw a movie with a lead with grills in the whole time?
Oh my god, I loved it. It was so cool, and they made it work.
Oh, dude,
That
it
way the
worked.
look was insane.
It makes him exactly the character that he needs to be. But like
Yeah.
that is so anti-assimilate because assimilation says no, none of that. Like John Boyega has a beautiful smile. Let's not cover it up. No. The point is Fontaine is the most himself he can be because he's been so far removed from that source version of him that is so whitewashed and messed up.
Yeah. Exactly, and I appreciate that you get to see characters like that be the main characters of a movie.
Yeah.
You get to see characters like that be creative, be driven. Say Yo-Yo is smart as hell.
Right.
Jamie Foxx is, Slick Child is really creative at the end.
Yeah.
He tricked dude into thinking that was him on the ground, and it wasn't him. Like he used a clone to trick him. Like again, to consider the story, they cloned Tyrone.
Right.
Like, and you get to see them just be good characters. Like they still like have the stuff that you would call stereotypical, but they're still people
Right.
underneath.
Right.
And I appreciate that. It was that one part where the dude was he's like remember when Fontaine tried to lead them to lead his boys to go check out the first house that he went to with the elevator.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You good, bro? You need some water?" Like he's like, everybody's like, "What? 83% water?" He just started like launching this whole thing about water. It's just shit you just don't expect from like literal gangbangers. I love it.
That felt so not scripted too.
Right.
Yes, it really did.
I was like, I wonder if Jamie just started this off the top of his head because it's so randomly fucking funny.
Like most of his shit specifically was probably unscripted. He was going in.
I'd have been busted up laughing the whole time. I'm like, God damn it. Again.
Yeah, I cannot help myself watching. JB is such a fool.
Right.
I mean, it's even back to the point that Seth made, is it's just like, instead of, this guy created peace, that he created peace by essentially betraying his entire culture and giving into thinking that white is right, and that's the only way black people ever know peace. All the resources that they use to keep these people, shackled,
right,
could have been used to let them be free and be unique and be who they are, and it doesn't have to involve controlling them at all. Like happiness isn't of itself its own control. When you're happy, you're not asking questions or thinking of things like that.
Right.
Exactly. There's no need to riot. Then why would you riot? Like the resources you have, do what you're supposed to do with them. Don't be a piece of shit.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Literally, just do something good with it, and then good things will come. But that's just the corporation. And I was watching Black Dynamite, and dear God, please watch that. That's so funny.
Right?
The Michael Jai White.
Yeah, Michael Jai White.
The movie, yes. Yeah, the Michael Jai White movie, yes. Golly, that was so fucking funny.
Should we do a podcast about Michael Jai White and how fucking awesome he is, too?
He's amazing, bro. He's amazing.
Honestly, you could build a whole podcast around Michael Jai White, I think.
I would gladly join that. That is my guy, all right? Like, you see that man kick, like, in real, like, in actual competition?
Woo!
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did you see when he explained the difference between throwing a punch and throwing a punch?
Yeah.
Slice? Still one of my favorite conversations ever was him explaining how you could tell when someone's throwing a punch versus when they're throwing a punch. And it's just such...
I've heard of that video, but I need to watch it.
It's great. Everything about Michael Jai White is great. I believe that director who made Black Dynamite is making a new movie with him, by the way.
Oh.
Oh God, yeah. I remember I was looking it up because I was like, "Who is this guy?" He hadn't done much before Black Dynamite, but he had done something. It's exciting to see that he's doing something else though, because again, another person with perfect handle on what he was trying to do. That was a straight. You know how hard it is to be bad on purpose and to come across as like you're doing shit poorly on purpose. Like the poorly ADR lines, the shitty lighting, the like terrible cutting, like the editing is awful. Again, on purpose.
On purpose, right? I was watching Shin Kamen Rider, and it's just like a 70s movie. It is cut the same. The cinematography's the same. It's just the effects are like excellent. So it's got this like Hollywood sheen on top of like old 70s grindhouse movie. It's awesome.
Oh, I gotta watch that. That sounds amazing, man.
It's free on Prime right now.
Ooh, let me write that down. Hold on. That's on my list now. But wait, how do we get on the Black? I mentioned. Oh yeah, this again. That's
Scott Sanders.
Aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking about that aesthetic, and they clone Tyrone is very similar to that. Not quite as they lean into the absurdity more than like the poor like. Like the no budget way they used to, the low budget, no budget way they used to shoot things, blaxploitation films back in the day. But it's still similar vibes, same aesthetic, and it's another director, like you said, Scott Sanders, who knows exactly what he wants and is trying to get that,
Right.
succeeding at getting that. Yeah, but they clone Tyrone just again from start to finish, just a romp. And oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. The way they wrote out towards the end of the in the third act, once they got the whole like neighborhood together.
Yeah.
I love that's one of my favorite tropes is like getting the whole hood together. It's really inspiring, you know. It's cool to see. Oh, we're gonna fight for our neighborhood, and
Yeah.
they did. They got them out of there and
Like
exposed
Attack
them.
the Block.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm actually rewatching that right now.
That's
Not like right now, but like
no, yeah. While we're doing the podcast, I appreciate that.
I'm watching. I watch Attack the Block on a daily basis. So.
As you should.
That's another great one. I love how that trope is so far removed from like the suburbs. Like that is such a like living in an area where you have to kind of give and take with the people that live around you. That's a very specific living condition. And dude,
Exactly.
yeah, it gives you like as an audience member, it gives you that feeling of like, oh my god, if I was there, I'd be part of that too. Like, yeah,
No,
you just
really.
want to like run in and fight with them.
It's exactly where my head was at when I was watching that. I was like, yeah, nah, that'd be me because like, I'm not about to clone my boys. I'm about to
Right.
kill my boy and clone him. Damn it.
And John Boyega's in it.
Now-
And John Boyega's there.
Now, the listeners may be confused as we have brought up characters like Fontaine and Slick Charles and Yo-Yo and
Oh, yeah.
Nixon, and where's Tyrone in all this?
Ah,
Right?
Pete, the last little piece.
Actually, that might be my favorite part of the movie. That was
Yeah.
perfect the way to end that. So at the end of the movie, after everything happens, they run in there, they kill both the leader and which by the way, Fontaine kills his the original in a very creative way.
He
Oh
does.
wait. Yeah, he has there's a code word that makes him do whatever the person that says the code word, was it Omega Black or something?
hmm
Mega Block,
Yeah.
yep.
Whoever says that, they have to do whatever the person who says that says. And it's getting kind of a hat on a hat situation. There's a clone of Fontaine that exists to serve the original Fontaine.
Right.
And there was
Yes,
also
sir.
Fontaine, and they were all in the same room. And he used Fontaine used that code word to get the clone that served his original to kill the original. And so he couldn't continue on with his plans. So that was a creative way to end that.
Yeah.
But then at the very end, after they kill him, they kill the handler, they expose everything. Like they're literally the news has come up. They're taking pictures. They let out all the clones. They're running free, and the news is recording everything. And then they're cutting to like all the people watching us around the nation. It's like, and then you see a bunch of people. Oh, you see Fontaine go through his routine one more time, but he looks a little different this time. Just a little different. And then at the end of it, he's hanging out with his friends, watching the news, and they see what's going on. They see a bunch of clones, and then you see the news person goes to Fontaine, the actual Fontaine, and everybody looks over to the person you've been following, and is like, Tyrone, ain't that you? And it perfectly like that. They clone Tyrone.
Yeah. Excellent ending. Just
Perfect way to end it.
what a bottle cap.
It was perfect, man.
I went,
Like-
oh, that's where the name comes.
Dude,
Mhm.
it
I
was
was wondering this whole time.
there was another movie that had a perfect ending like that, Kid Detective. I don't know if you guys checked that one out. It was kind of off the beaten path, but this is the podcast for that, and we're at the end, so I'm allowed to talk about it. So
Amen.
Kid Detective is basically what if those Kid Detective books you read growing up, what if that character grew up to be a detective, right? So,
Okay.
but he has to solve like an actual fucked up crime.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh shit. Child.
and then his character arc through the movie is that he hasn't really grown up, like because he peaked in like middle school, he hasn't really grown. And so as the absurdity of the plot and the like realism of the plot merge, you hit the end of the movie and it gives you just this perfect, I won't ruin what it is, but it is just another one of those mwah, oh, the last 5 seconds of the movie was the reason the whole movie exists. I love it.
So it's
Let me
case
add
closed?
that.
So it's case
You said
closed?
kid.
Case closed.
Oh, is that wait? That's what it was you're talking about?
No.
No, it's Kid
Okay, it's
Detective.
like Case Closed. Okay, so Kid
But
Detective.
it's
Let me write
totally
that down.
got some Case Closed vibes too.
It does. It does.
Which I do want to watch. I can hear good things about Case Closed.
Yeah, good luck finding all of it.
Right.
And what was the last thing were you talking about? The last movie you said it was on Amazon.
Shin Kamen Rider.
Thank you.
You should watch anything that has the word Shin in front of it.
Right.
Yeah, right. Because I hear a lot of great things about Shin Godzilla, and I just
Shin
can't find it for
Godzilla.
free.
Oh yeah, dude. Shin Godzilla is so good.
Is it like the original, like 1954 Godzilla in a way?
In a
It's
way,
based on that character more.
Okay.
it's kind of like. It,
Crunchyroll, Vic.
Oh, for Shin Godzilla?
Shin Godzilla's on Crunchyroll.
hell yeah.
Fucking thank you. 'Cause I've been trying for so long. Thank
I
you.
thought it was. That's why I spun the check.
Man,
Yeah,
we're leaving this podcast and you're watching Kid Detective and Shin Kamen Rider and Mike's gonna watch Nope.
Yeah.
I need to
Let's
watch
do it. So that's
Assignment
on
now.
Prime. Yeah, right. Watch Skinamarink is on Netflix. Hulu. Sorry.
I saw it.
Oh, okay. I still need to see it. Is it
I-
worth the watch?
That was the one that I went. This is why I stopped listening to fucking people online.
So okay,
I didn't think it was good.
let me ask you this, Vic. Did you like the original Blair Witch Project?
I appreciate what it did.
Okay, interesting answer.
Yeah.
You may then appreciate what Skinamarink does, but also feel
Okay.
similarly. It's
Okay.
it's a technical achievement for it being like a $15,000 movie or whatever. It's a definitely a technical achievement. Nothing happens. You look at floorboards for 90 minutes and like spooky voices, and it like
Okay.
you don't see anything. Not like it is. Oh, it is a little frustrating, but it's still a technical achievement.
Yeah, it's technically cool, but as a movie, it's not.
Yeah.
A movie.
Yeah. So,
So it sounds like the original Blair Witch then. Yeah, like you
and
said.
that's my litmus
Hey,
test.
first off, fuck you.
That's my litmus test.
I mean,
It was
just say it sounds like
it was Blair Witch. If you were our age, it was what's that Oren Peli one, that his first movie.
I love VHS. How about you guys?
Oh, VHS is another one.
Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, Paranormal.
The very first one is another one of those like, yeah, it's cool that they made this for $10,000. It also looks like a $10,000 movie.
But the difference between Paranormal Activity, which was $15,000 for production, and then post-production was when they got all their money, because they did what we're trying to do with Bludgeoning, which is they took a piece of money, made some concept, and then took it to studios, and everyone went, it's fucking cool. And it's like, yeah, if you give me enough money, I can make it look really cool. And then they gave him like $200,000, and it made almost $200 million.
Oh shit, that's exactly what I want to happen to the Bludgeoning Den. Let me look right into the camera and say, once this strike is over, script's yours, baby. We're ready to sell. We're ready to make you a Skinamarink. Pew pew.
Mm-hmm. With a little more action.
Yeah. Well,
with more shit actually going on.
At least 4 people die. Oh, that reminds me, Mike. Guess what scene has been added to the Bludgeoning script since you've seen it?
Is it my death?
Finally? It's not only is it your death, we made it a good scene too.
Ooh,
Sweet.
nice.
You get to have a little one more jab in with Anthony before getting taken out. It's kind of cool.
Perfect.
Devin helped me write it, actually. He hadn't worked on the script at all, and then I don't even know why I'm talking about this on the podcast. I might cut this out. Anyways,
The miracle of editing.
Let's get back onto track. They cloned Tyrone. Closing thoughts, gentlemen. That's where I would like to end up now. Vic, thank you for bringing this movie to us and for jumping on the episode. What are your closing thoughts? Why should someone jump off of this episode and immediately go watch this movie?
Because you're gonna find something you haven't seen before. Something wholly unique. You might have seen something like it before, but you're not seeing this movie before with these people.
Right.
The director and actors all involved. Trust me, you're going to have an amazing 2 hours. It's going to be a great time.
Mike, how about you?
No notes.
No notes. I love that.
In a world where so much stuff like sci-fi and comedy have all been this like sleek, streamlined, sexy-esque approach in just this very generic way, They Clone Tyrone, you should watch it because we deserve more things like this that take this beautiful approach creatively. They're not trying to perceive themselves as being this like beautiful technical acumen. It is a perfectly well balanced film that really does cater to sci-fi elements that we don't see as much anymore in the modern landscape, and we should see more of. And we need more stories like this. We need more weird stuff like Sorry to Bother You. We need more weird stuff like Nope, Get Out. We need more of this from voices that don't come from people that look like me, because it's only going to get better. That's why you should watch The Clone Tyrones, because we need more and more. And it's Kylo Ren. More. That is
More.
More.
That's all I can say. I just
Perfect
want
meme.
more stuff like that.
Speaking of more, did y'all feel teed up for a sequel at the end of this? I'm ready to get the team out for another sci-fi romp.
Let's go.
Yeah, I would love that. And a perfect ending for him to be like, I don't know, I'll stick with y'all, I guess. You know, I'm just a couple days old, so shit, let's see what happens. Perfect.
I'm just a couple
ending.
days old. I love that.
Yeah, that was an amazing line. This movie was so good, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what a gem. What an absolute gem. Gentlemen, you two are both gems as well. Thank you for jumping on this episode. Anything you want to shout out here at the end of the show?
Nothing for me right now. Just follow the Twitter at VicJ_795 for more hot takes.
It's called X now.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't follow.
Never mind. Never mind. Just follow me on Instagram. Fuck it.
Right.
I'm not doing this.
What's up, guys? It's your boy. You can find me on X.
Ew. I hate it. I hate it.
Gross.
I want to die.
So much.
Mike, you're on Optimal Debauchery, streaming every Saturday on Kick.
Yeah, we stream Saturday nights on we stream RPGs on Saturday nights. Come try to get me all wired up and screaming and shouting if you want, or something else. It doesn't matter. I'll be there no matter what. Contractually obligated.
Contractually. Verbal contract that we have.
There's no contract.
with the shared stream key. That's the contract.
That's funny.
Right.
No, really.
Truly.
If you don't show up, you don't get none of the streaming services no more. Take Netflix away.
Right.
My wife pays for Netflix, so I'll keep that.
Oh, well. Goodbye to everything else.
Right.
Congrats, you got the worst one. Let me stop.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and check out this one on Netflix. And that's going to do it for us. Good night.
Deuces.